As midnight approached, the quiet streets of Kiev were suddenly pierced by the sharp wail of air raid sirens. This was not an ordinary warning, but a harbinger of a multi-layered and massive Russian attack advancing toward the capital. Residents rushed to shelters, feeling they were facing a threat on a much larger scale than they were used to. The official statement from the Ukrainian Air Force soon confirmed the severity of the situation. "We are facing a coordinated attack consisting of a large number of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, and long-range cruise missiles. All air defense systems are operating at maximum capacity." Russia's planned and complex attack not only targeted a capital city, but also announced to the world the level of maturity Moscow has reached in its capacity to plan and execute complex, multi-axis air operations required by modern warfare. The timing, intensity, and precise target selection of the attack were meticulously calculated to place maximum pressure on Ukraine's defense systems. The attack began in silence, with Kiev's early warning systems failing to detect significant movement. The first wave consisted of dozens of Shahed-136 kamikaze drones that took off from the dark waters of the Black Sea and the airspace of Belarus. These low-cost but highly effective drones were designed to overload Ukraine's radar coverage and distract air defense operators. Within minutes, a second and far more deadly wave was launched, Ka-101 and Ka-555, cruise missiles from Russian strategic bombers and ground-based launch platforms. These high-precision munitions travel at low altitude following the terrain, making them extremely difficult for Ukrainian radar systems to detect. The third and most destructive phase of the operation came with the deployment of Iskander-M short-range ballistic missiles. These missiles, which can reach hypersonic speeds and perform unpredictable maneuvers during flight, posed an almost impossible threat to the air defense network already occupied with existing attacks. This phased and synchronized approach by the Russian General Staff was designed to systematically wear down Ukraine's limited air defense systems and deliver critical blows with a springboard strategy. Ukraine's air defense network responded with extraordinary resilience. NASAMS and IRIST batteries deployed at various points in the city turned night into day with missile trails illuminating the sky. The Gepard anti-aircraft systems created a relentless curtain of fire against low-altitude drones. However, defense lines became increasingly strained in the face of the multifaceted and constant nature of the Russian attack. A Ukrainian air defense officer, speaking on condition of anonymity, said, "The intensity of the attack was incredible. When we shot down a target, 3 new ones would appear on our radar screens. Our systems and personnel were pushed to their limits," he said. The strategic targets of the attack revealed the timeliness and precision of Russian intelligence. A transformer station connected to the main power grid, a military radio listening station, and a logistics center where military aid from the West was distributed suffered heavy damage from precise strikes. The fact that a Kh-101 missile specifically targeted the entrance to an underground command center on the outskirts of the city demonstrated Russia's success in target intelligence. The shockwaves from the explosions were felt kilometers away and caused temporary power outages in some parts of the city. This attack raised disturbing questions not only for Kiev but also for the capitals on NATO's eastern flank. A Western military analyst stated, "Russia has clearly demonstrated its capacity to carry out a complex and coordinated saturation attack. This is a scenario that any modern air defense system would struggle to cope with," he assessed. The attack indicates that NATO needs to review its defense doctrines against unconventional, asymmetric threats, which are referred to as fourth-generation warfare. The psychological impact of the attack was at least as devastating as the physical impact. Kiev residents were once again forced to understand how fragile their basic security needs are. A father who spent the night in a shelter said, "When the sirens started, I saw the fear in my children's eyes. This is something that shouldn't happen," he said. The Ukrainian government tried to keep emergency gathering points and communication lines active to maintain civil resistance, but the atmosphere of uncertainty and fear created by the attack does not seem likely to dissipate easily. The Russian Ministry of Defense described the operation as a high-precision strike against Ukraine's military infrastructure and claimed that the targets were transfer points for weapons supplied by NATO and Ukraine's command and control centers. The statement said, "All identified targets have been successfully destroyed." Tonight's attack has been recorded as a turning point that will have a profound impact on the course of the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia has demonstrated its determination to maintain and even enhance its long-range precision strike capability. Ukraine, meanwhile, once again experienced its urgent need for a more advanced and resilient air defense umbrella to protect its vital cities and infrastructure. The question of whether the air defense systems provided by Western allies to Ukraine are sufficient in quantity and quality against Russia's increasing attack capacity will be at the center of international diplomacy in the coming days. This attack was a stark reminder that the war is not only continuing on the front lines but also in deep cities and on the international stage. The armed forces of the Russian Federation are implementing another breakthrough in air-to-ground precision strike capabilities as part of the special military operation in Ukraine. With the integration of the UMPK, Universal Planning and Correction Module, into the KOEB, Correctable Aviation Bomb systems, and the recent addition of Chinese-made turbojet engines, the Russian Air Force has gained unprecedented lethality and precision against targets deep within Ukraine. This technological leap has the potential to not only shift the balance on the front lines, but also fundamentally impact NATO's regional defense doctrines. The recent events in Pokrovsk were a concrete demonstration of this new era. Two Su-34 fighter jets belonging to the Russian Air Force destroyed a command center of Ukraine's 155th Brigade with a single strike from 70 kilometers behind the front line. The FAB-500 bomb, equipped with the UMPK 500 module used, struck the target with meter-level accuracy, causing a temporary paralysis in the command and control structure of Ukrainian forces in the area. This attack is the latest example of Russia's success in converting conventional bombs into high-precision munitions. In recent weeks, as fighting in the Donbas region has intensified, the Russian Air Force has continued to strike targets deep inside Ukraine with a series of coordinated operations. In an operation conducted on November the 15th, a Ukrainian artillery depot near Kharkiv was completely destroyed by 3 FAB-1500 bombs equipped with UMPK 1500 modules. Images from the region show that the chain explosions caused by the warehouse being hit directly lasted for hours. In the direction of Avdiivka, Russian troops launched an intensive air support operation to break Tharo, a Ukrainian defense line in the city center. In the last 48 hours, Su-25S M3 attack aircraft and Mi-28N attack helicopters belonging to the 47th Mechanized Brigade carried out over 120 sorties against Ukrainian positions. Russian armored units advancing with air support managed to establish a significant bridgehead on the northwestern outskirts of the city. The situation on the Kherson front has become even more critical. During airstrikes against Ukrainian units stationed on the western bank of the Dnieper River, Russian warplanes effectively utilized advanced GLONASS systems. On November 14th, a Ukrainian command center and communications base located on the west bank of the river were completely disabled by a single airstrike. It was reported that the UMPK 500 module bombs used traveled a distance of 95 kilometers before hitting their targets. As military experts examine the underlying dynamics behind Russia's ability to adapt technologically, they particularly emphasize the game-changing role of integrating turbojet engines, especially the Chinese-made Swaiwan SW-800 Pro-Y, into Russian UAV systems. Weighing just 10 kilograms, these compact engines extend the range of conventional glide bombs beyond 200 kilometers while also increasing stability in the flight profile. The latest strikes recorded in the cities of Mykolaiv, Poltava, and Lozova confirm the operational effectiveness of these improved systems. The UMPB-5R glide bomb used in the attack on Lozova on October the 18th, which hit its target with a range of exactly 150 kilometers, demonstrated the radical improvement in Russia's capacity to reach distant targets. The Pearl of the Black Sea, Odessa, became the first target of these new generation KIYBs on October 24th. Residents of the area stated that they heard a lighter but sharper engine sound, different from the usual cruise missile noises, followed by an explosion that was much more powerful than conventional bombs. The question of why Russia is investing so heavily in KYB systems, in addition to its existing cruise missile and drone arsenal, is being intensely debated by military strategy experts. The truth is, every weapon system has its own unique advantages and limitations. While cruise missiles like Kalaibo or Iskander offer high precision and long range, they are at a disadvantage in terms of cost-effectiveness. While drones are relatively inexpensive, they are easier to detect and destroy by advanced air defense systems. KIB systems, on the other hand, offer an ideal balance between these two extremes. Considering the stocks of FAB 250, FAB 500, and FAB 1500 series bombs remaining from the Soviet era, the conversion of this old ammunition into modern, high-precision weapons through the integration of the UMPK module provides Russia with a unique cost advantage. Russian defense industry officials announced that for the cost of one Kali-ER cruise missile, at least 15 to 20 KAYB modules with UMPK could be produced. The operational results of this economic advantage are reaching staggering proportions. According to the latest statement from the Ukrainian Air Force Command, Russian warplanes have conducted over 450 cruise missile attacks on targets behind the front lines in the past month. It is stated that 78% of these attacks hit their targets with pinpoint accuracy, while only 22% of Ukrainian air defense systems were able to intercept these attacks. Another critical development in Russia's KAYB technology is happening in target designation systems. In addition to traditional GPS/GLONASS guidance, the new generation of KAYBs, which also integrates laser and infrared guidance systems, can maintain high accuracy rates even in electronic warfare environments. Especially the Granite series of target designation systems allows bombs to change targets during flight and coordinate attacks in groups. The increase in the production of Su-34 fighter jets is also part of this strategy. At the beginning of 2022, the annual production capacity was 12 units, which has now been increased to 30 units. With their long-range and heavy weapons payload capacity, Su-34s serve as an ideal platform for FABs. The Russian Air Force's fleet of over 120 Su-34s is systematically destroying targets deep within Ukraine, conducting an average of 15 to 20 sorties per day. Military analysts are warning that these developments will not be limited to the Ukrainian front alone. Countries on NATO's eastern flank may be forced to review their defense doctrines in the face of Russia's increasing precision strike capability. NATO troops stationed in countries like Poland and Romania, in particular, could be vulnerable to similar attacks. NATO officials state that they are closely monitoring Russia's developments in KAYB technology. A NATO military official, speaking on condition of anonymity, said, "These systems developed by Russia pose a serious challenge to our traditional air defense networks." He used the phrase, "We have to develop a new generation of air defense systems against this threat." The Ukrainian side, meanwhile, is trying to develop countermeasures against this new threat. While it is stated that the Patriot and Iris-T air defense systems have shown partial success in preventing losses, the insufficient number of these systems and the limited ammunition stocks pose a serious problem. In a statement, Ukrainian Air Force spokesman Yuri Ihnat said, "Russia's KIB systems require us to fundamentally change our traditional air defense doctrines." He stated, "Building a sustainable defense system against such cheap and effective weapons requires significant resources. Field experience shows that electronic warfare systems are the most effective countermeasure against KOIB. The Krasuha and Bukovel systems supplied to Ukraine can partially neutralize the guidance systems of cruise missiles. However, it is stated that Russia has also developed countermeasures against these systems and that KIBs are beginning to be equipped with inertial guidance systems. When considered from an economic perspective, the burden of KB systems on the Russian defense budget remains at extremely reasonable levels, while the cost of a single UMPK module is estimated to be around $5,000 to $30,000. The cost of conventional bombs into which these modules are integrated is only a few $1,000s. In contrast, when considering that the cost of a single Patriot missile is estimated to be $3 to $4 million, and that of an Iris-T missile is $400,000 to $500,000, Russia's economic advantage becomes clear. Russian defense industry officials announced that they have significantly increased the production capacity of the UMPK module. The facilities, which currently have the capacity to produce 1,500 modules per month, are planned to increase this number to 3,000 by the end of next year. This increase will allow the Russian Air Force to further intensify its use of KB. From an operational effectiveness perspective, however, KIBs provide the Russian Air Force with unique flexibility. The preparation process and logistical support required for traditional cruise missile attacks are largely eliminated for KIB. A Su-34 aircraft can carry 6 to 8 UMPK-equipped KIB per sortie, while the same aircraft have much more limited capabilities in terms of cruise missile carrying capacity. Military experts on the front lines say one of the most important advantages of the KIB is its psychological impact. The constant threat to targets deep within Ukraine is significantly impacting the morale and mobility of Ukrainian forces. The constant threat to supply lines and command centers in particular is limiting Ukraine's operational flexibility. Intelligence sources indicate that Russia's next step in KIB technology is to develop autonomous swarm capabilities. It is stated that work is ongoing on a group of KIB being able to communicate with each other to distribute targets and perform collective maneuvers against electronic warfare threats. If these capabilities are realized, it will become much more difficult for existing air defense systems to cope with these attacks. At the same time, it is reported that Russian engineers are working on longer-range and more precise variants of the KIB. It is stated that the new generation of UAVs, especially those with a range of 300 kilometers or more and equipped with advanced navigation systems, are in the testing phase. This technological transformation on the Ukrainian front offers important clues as to how the nature of modern conventional warfare is changing. Low-cost, high-tech solutions developed to counter asymmetric threats have the potential to fundamentally shake up traditional defense budgets and doctrines. Russia's success with the KIB systems once again highlights the strategic importance of investments in this area. It is predicted that in the coming period, developments in KIB technology will not be limited to the Ukraine-Russia war, but will also affect global military balances. It is known that countries like China, Iran, and North Korea are making intensive efforts to develop similar systems. These developments appear poised to become one of the most significant technological transformations shaping military strategies in the 21st century. Russia's technological breakthrough in KIB systems is redefining the nature of modern warfare. These low-cost, high-impact weapons, capable of overcoming traditional air defense systems, have the potential to fundamentally alter military balances. These capabilities, proven on the Ukrainian front, offer important clues as to how air power will play a role on future battlefields. In light of these developments, NATO and other conventional military forces will need to develop new defense doctrines and technologies to counter similar threats. Otherwise, they seem destined to remain vulnerable to asymmetric threats like Russia's KIB systems.